This tutorial will review the Edvance360 how to add images or storylines within questions and within the test of a question. First, I went to the repository resource tool, and in my global repository, I wanted to add 3 images that were going to be important for the storyboard within a test. So I created a file called story images, a folder, sorry, and then I went over and I added 3 different files. Just simply add new, and I added an image of some happy rocks, some relationship marketing, Venn diagram, and an old tree. I just simply went add new file, I named it, located the file, and submitted it. I'm sure you understand how to do that. So these files are resting in my global repository under story images. Now I can go to my particular question if I wanted to. So if I went to my question area, and from here, anytime you edit a question or build out a question, so I've got 3 questions over here. If I wanted to go over here and add a picture of grass to this question, I could go and edit it and add within the rich text editor for my question. I could go over and add and pull in an image from the repository, and that image would rest right here directly underneath the question or before the question, depending upon where my cursor is positioned. So again, you can pull in an image straight from here. Keep in mind the rich text editor also allows you to pull in images from a link. You can add a link if you'd like to, etc. So let's just add something here and see how this works. So I'm going to add an image. Let me bring this down a little bit so you can see it. I'm going to my global repository, down to story images. Let's add these happy rocks. Okay, so the rocks are sitting here. They're sitting right beside my question. If I wanted to, I could bump this down by entering, and now the happy rocks picture is directly underneath the question. If I needed to edit the size of my image, just right click on this. The image properties will allow you to then reduce the size of the picture, and maybe I want it to reduce with the width. It will automatically size it properly with the heights, and hit OK. And now the image is much smaller. Let's change that again. I think that's too small. So let's do 150. And it's set up, ready to go. And then I can, of course, add an image right from here and browse to my computer and add an image. So there's 2 ways to add an image to each separate question in the question bank. Let's just go down and complete this out. I'm going to save and return to the question bank. All right, so I know I have the rock picture next to that question called, what is the color of grass? Obviously, it's not an appropriate picture, but I think you get the idea. So now there's something else we need to look at. I used these questions to build out a test in a course called A1 Leadership. The test is called a color test. So you can create a test or edit a test, hit the edit tool, and there's a setting called story. Under the test information, the second box down is story. The question mark explains. This option only works with inline test questions. If you want to embed a video, etc., there's information. So you can embed a video with source, and the recommended height is 120 by width up to 24. I've already added 3 images for this storyline. I want the storyline to appear in the test for all of the questions. So if I had a case study, or perhaps it's a biology class and I had a picture of a skeleton and I wanted all the questions to be related to that skeleton and they needed to answer the questions related to the image, you can place it into this story box. Now I've typed in this information, use these images to answer your questions, and to the right I kept adding various images from my repository. Keep in mind you can use source to pull in a video. So I've got 3 pictures I've added, the rocks, the trees, and this bin. And then I'm going to save it and take the test to show you how this appears for the students. I'm going to take this test as a student, and the way to do that, to try out your test, and I do recommend that you try out your test, go over to the little graduation cap, which is the student view. This is allowing me to try out this test. It's going to allow me to start the 8-color test by going over and hit submit or start the test. Here's my initial information for pre-test confirmation that I typed in, and it's showing off. Press OK. Now, remember, the first question had an image, and here it's setting. So what is the color grass? If I had a grass picture here, I can then let the children or the students see that and submit green. To the right, with this is the story box. So if you had a case study or a skeleton image or whatever you'd like to do, your images and information would appear here, and the students can use this to adequately answer their questions. All of the questions on the left would be referring to the information on the right in this yellow outlined storyline box. So there's 2 ways to add images, right from the individual test question that you build out in the repository, and also when you're creating the test, there's a box called Story. I hope this has been helpful for you to understand how to add images to your test questions and your tests. Have a good rest of your day. Bye now.